I just want to be laid up here and tell you a very sincere story. When I was going through depression, I'll never forget how difficult that stage of my life was. And depression feels extremely weird. I remember that I felt like death. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to eat. And my days felt extremely cold. I just wanted to be in bed and not do anything. And during that time of just processing that episode in my life, I remember that I started telling myself that I have to sort of dig myself out of this hard place. Because you're basically between a rock and a hard place, right? So my mind started shifting into doing things that I didn't want to do, but I had to do in order to feel better. And I remember running like yesterday. I remember running specifically with that pain and that anguish, and it just felt heavy. It hurt. I remember I was out of breath, not because I couldn't run, but just the emotional output, man. Like, you're riding this entire roller coaster of emotions, and that was killing me. My chest was heavy, my stomach was in the pits, and I just felt like I couldn't move my feet. I couldn't move my legs at all. It felt like cement. And then just being here alone with my mind, that was a very tough part of my life. So anyway, I started to slowly come around and just write things down. What I needed to do, what truly mattered, what was the idea to go forward, what I needed to do to get and feel better, to get in a better mindset. So I remember that I told myself I needed to start reading again. I needed to pick up a book. And for some reason, for me, books provide a safe place. Like, whenever I felt scared, or I had that anguish, or that sort of like endless anxiety, I picked up a book and I just held any book. And during that time, I just wanted to really find peace. I wanted tranquility. I wanted that anguish and anxiety just to go away. That anguish was killing me. So I decided to, make a list of things that I needed to do. Like I said, running, reading, finding my purpose, which is sort of a dead end, because you only find your purpose when you start doing. And I made a listing of the books that I wanted to read, that I sort of wanted to reread, that dealt with being stuck between a rock and a hard place. So what I'm trying to say here is that for me, Harry Potter was one of those books that I picked up. There's a couple of more books, and I'm going to basically talk about them, but this book, I remember reading this book back in 2009, and for some reason I felt like reading Harry Potter was gonna do something for me, and it did. And I'll never forget how much this book changed my life when I was in college. I remember reading this book and basically getting that Harry Potter effect. Like, you read the first book, then you want to read the second book, then you want to read the third book, and so on and so forth. To the point that you fall in love with this story, you fall in love with all of the little bits and turns that happen throughout this book. And they are so much better than the movie, I promise you. If you don't like reading, get the audiobook. It's just so good. So anyway, long story long, I started reading Harry Potter, rereading Harry Potter, and this was back in 2019. Going into 2020, which was a battle. But long story long, I read this book, reread it. I've reread this book at least 20 times or more. But anyway, I picked up this book and I just started going slowly through the pages and really just feeling everything, feeling that sense of hopelessness, putting that despair into something like that mattered. And I'll never forget how Harry wanted friendship, how he wanted to have somebody that he could depend on. And just being stuck in that house under the stairs, just being abused, made me think about myself. And then once he got his letter to go, basically announcing that he was going to go to Hogwarts, I'll never forget that serendipity that he felt. And I felt that too. I felt that putting my energy into something that truly mattered was going to do something for me. It was going to be beneficial. So anyway, I read this book throughout my depression, and I will talk about my depression in full detail, but I just wanted to say that for me, I found purpose when I started picking up books and I started reading and really focusing on what truly matters, because there's some sort of intimacy when you just share your time with a book. All the world's knowledge lies between pages, and just spending that time and really finding books that truly shape your mind, give you direction, make you think outside of the box, provide context to alleviate your ignorance. For me, that is what matters. And depression was the best thing that ever happened to me because it gave me purpose. It gave me direction. It gave me all the necessary tools that I needed at that time to be better, to chase more. And I will never, ever forget how I felt when I didn't have anything. How I felt when I felt completely useless. When I felt like a bum. When I felt like I was worth nothing. And books, man. Books have given me so much indispensable value. If I'm ever bored, all I have to do is just stand up and pick up a book. If I'm ever ignorant about a topic, stand up and go pick up a book. If I want to challenge myself, stand up and go pick up a book. And I'm really thankful for this book and so many other books. Charlotte's Web is my favorite book because it deals with friendship, but this story, man, this book here, year number 1, it did so much for me when I really needed a ray of hope. I'm Luis D. Martinez. I'll see you soon.